where the wives of the performance of the sacrifice said their prayers, if I'm not mistaken. Salika Prabhu can correct me because yesterday it was only two of us, myself and Salika, who went to the end, and Chitraketu Putra joined us later. Rasavan started with me, only me and Rasavan went on for some time. Then Salika joined us. Then towards more than halfway, and Chitraketu joined us. That was a class. Then we didn't stop. We went on and on. So, but I think we can start from 33 because let's start from 33. Okay. First, we said that when you see Uvacha means one person is speaking. That when you see Uchu, it means many people are speaking together. Together they are speaking. Uchu is plural, but Uvacha is singular. So let's see what the wives or the performance of sacrifice said. Because when the Lord appeared, everybody said their prayers according to their level of realization. And we said earlier that our level of realization is determined by our service attitude. Everybody's service attitude. That reveals that categorizes the level of prayers. So all living entities, Vishnu is our father. And when the father appeared, everybody is happy that the father has appeared. All the problems will be solved. And everybody will say prayer according to their desires, according to their levels of realization. And we say the service attitude is what determines your level of realization, that each and every one should try and boost his service attitude. Not the service itself, but the service attitude. And we remember where Larupa Goswami said in the Nectar of Instruction that success in devotional service, right at the beginning of the Nectar of Instruction, he said success in devotional service depends on the attitude of the practitioner. Success in devotional service depends on the attitude of the practitioner. So, service attitude. That each and everybody is on different level of evolution of consciousness. So, their service attitude will determine the type of prayers, because that will determine their level of realization of the Lord, and they will pray according to their realization. So each and every one of us, the focus will be on how to improve, increase our service attitude. Service attitude means we should remove ourselves from the center. We should remove ourselves from the center. And we say, how do we remove ourselves from the center? We just start by becoming very determined to implement the instructions given to us by our spiritual master. That is how to remove ourselves from the center. We put the Lord in the center and we intensify our determination. We intensify our determination to implement the instructions. And if that is there, we want to improve our japa, we want to improve our sadhana, we want to improve our attendance to program, we want to improve our inclination, our hearing of Bhagavatam, we want to improve every aspect of services we are supposed to do. We want to improve everything. If we have strong determination to do that for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, then automatically our humility will be evoked. we become humble. The more we try to do that, the more humble we become, because the more we realize that actually we are nothing, we are insignificant. We need the mercy of the Lord to be able to achieve anything. We need the mercy of the Lord. And that attitude of supplicating ourselves to the mercy and grace of the Lord, that brings about humility. And to the degree we are into that, to that degree, we are humble. And unless you are humble, you cannot even chant Hare Krishna properly. So this is the whole formula. That everything starts from our service attitude. So let us hear. All the prayers being said are very philosophical. All recognize Vishnu as beyond this material creation. So recognize him as somebody who doesn't need anything from anywhere in this material world, therefore is independent. That's Lord Brahma. Then others said, nice prayers. All are good. And the performance of the sacrificial Brahma, or the ritual performance of the sacrifice, they said something also, referring that they have become Brahmavadis. They are so interested in the fruits of all these sacrifices, so that they have lost sight of the good. And that is due to the curse of Lord Shiva's disciple. So the Lord should have mercy on them, so that they can be purified along, so that eventually they will realize that the goal of all the Vedas is Vishnu. Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sadam Pasyati Suraya Viva Chaksu Atatam Vishnu Yat Paramam Padam. Then we quoted many verses. Yesterday was very sweet because we're very few, and we just did it nicely among ourselves. Okay, having said that, let's read the verse here. Patniya Uchu Jagyoyam Tabat no. Yagyoyam Taba Yajana Kenasritu Vidvasta Pasu Patina Diadaksha Kopat Tamnas Sava Sayanava Santamedam Yagyatman Nalina Ruchadrisa Punit. The wives of the performance of the sacrifice said, "My dear Lord, this sacrifice was arranged under the instruction of Brahma. But unfortunately, Lord Shiva, being angry at Daksha, devastated the entire scene. And because of his anger, the animals meant for sacrifice are lying dead. Therefore, the preparations of the Jagya have been lost. Now, by the glance of your lotus eyes, the sanctity of this sacrificial arena may be again invoked." So, they appear to be blaming Lord Shiva. It's natural, because they are the wives of the Brahmanas. Because by Lord Shiva's arrangements, all their husbands have been disgraced in many ways, and the whole thing has been destroyed. So it is not unnatural for them to be talking as if they are kissing Lord Shiva. But all what they want, in essence, is they want the Jagya to continue. That's actually what they want. They want the Jagya to continue. They want the Jagya to continue. That is exactly what they want. It's nothing more. So don't take them as offenders. So we are saying they want the Jagya to continue. And let's see the purport. Animals were offered in sacrifice in order to give them renewed life. That was the purpose of having animals there. Offering an animal in sacrifice and giving him renewed life was the evidence of the strength of chanting mantras. Unfortunately, when Daksha's sacrifice was devastated by Lord Shiva, So some of the animals were killed. One was killed just to replace the head of Daksha. Their bodies were lying about, and the sacrificial arena was turned into a crematorium. Thus, the real purpose of Jagya was lost. You can imagine the animals there that were to be used for the sacrifice. They were all, many of them were slaughtered, killed by the angry demon and his associates. So everywhere suddenly was full of dead bodies. You see? And it was one of those animals that was cut to replace Daksha's own. Maybe the most handsome among the animals, among the goats. And Brigu's beards were also replaced with maybe the most attractive beards among the goat beards, you know. So, but then these women were lamenting and they wanted the sacrifice to continue. Lord Vishnu, being the ultimate objective of such sacrificial ceremonies, was requested by the wives of the priest to glance over the Jagya arena with his constant mercy so that the routine work of the Jagya might be continued. The purpose here is that animals should not be unnecessarily killed. They were used to prove the strength of the mantras and were to have been rejuvenated by the use of the mantras. They should not have been killed. They should not have been killed. They should not have been killed as they were by Lord Shiva to replace the head of Daksha with the animal's head. It was pleasing to see an animal sacrifice and rejuvenated, and that pleasing atmosphere had been lost. The wives of the priests requested that the animals be brought back to life by the glance of Lord Vishnu to make a pleasing Jagya. So, this was their prayer. And inside their prayer, their desire is exposed. They wanted the Jagya to continue. Though they started by still blaming Lord Shiva, but their real intention was that the Jagya continues. And how to start? They expected that Lord Vishnu glance over the animals auspiciously, then all the animals to wake up, regain their lives, so that the whole form will continue. Hare Krishna. Now the rishis are going to pray. The wives of the brahmanas have prayed just one prayer. Then the rishis will pray. Risaya uchu. Anam vitam ste bhagavan vishasitam. Yad atmana sharasi karma nayasem. Vibhutaye yata upasedu iswarim. Naman yate swayam anuvartatim bhavam. The sages prayed, Dear Lord, your activities are most wonderful. And although you do everything by your different potencies, you are not at all attached to such activities. You are not even attached to the goddess of fortune, who is worshipped by the great demigods like Brahma, who pray to achieve our mercy. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the Lord has no desire to achieve any result from his wonderful activities, nor has he any need to perform them. But still, in order to give an example to people in general, he sometimes acts, and those activities are very wonderful. He's not attached to anything. Naamam karmani limpati, although he acts very wonderfully, he is not at all attached to anything. Yes, if one is self-sufficient, it doesn't need to be attached to anything. Self-sufficient. Why? He doesn't need anything from anyone. So even though the Lord is not bound by any duty, nevertheless, he performed duties just to show example. Just to show example. That by the same token, pure devotees are performing activities just to show example. Mahabhagavas are performing example just to show, they are performing activities just to show example. And in the Bhagavad Gita, the chapter 3, yes, in one of the verses, Krishna made the same statements to Arjuna that, look, he's not bound by any duty, yet he performs activities. And that Arjuna himself should perform activity just to show example. To show example, because if he does not fight as a Kshatriya and leaves the battlefield, people, unscrupulous people, will take advantage of it and they will want to imitate. So imitation is not allowed. And a lot of examples were given as to how the followers of Lord Shiva tried to imitate Lord Shiva by smoking ganja. You see, they try to imitate him by smoking ganja, but they are unable to drink the poison, the hala poison. So he said, before you smoke ganja, first of all, drink poison first. And also, some critics will say Krishna is dancing with the gopis, so let them also go and dance with the gopis, imitating him. But I say, before you go and dance with gopis, young girls, and other people's wives, first of all, lift Govardhan Hill. If you cannot lift Govardhan Hill, then don't try to dance with other people's wives. Follow the instructions and not try to imitate him, because he's a great personality. He's beyond the influence of the modes. You cannot imitate his activities. So Krishna is acting just to show example. And he said, because if I don't show example, whatever I do, they will say, oh, that great personality, Krishna himself did like this. Or that great personality, Arjuna did like this. So unscrupulous people who cannot regulate their senses, will just do those activities. Therefore, he said, whatever a great man does, common man follows. And whatever standard it sets by exemplary act, all the world pursues. The charity says, therefore, please, Arjuna, do your duty. So, for the sake of showing by example, Krishna also perform activities, do all the household rituals in the morning, take care of his wives and children, go to assembly, do this, do that, just to show example, because common man will imitate if he does not. So this is what's being referred to here. He is self-sufficient. Oh yeah, he's self-sufficient. The example is given here that the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is always engaged in the service of the Lord, but still is not attached to her. Even great demigods like Lord Brahma worship the goddess of fortune in order to win her favor. But although the Lord is worshipped by many hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune, he is not at all attached to any one of them. This distinction concerning the exalted transcendental position of the Lord is specifically mentioned by the great sages. He is not like the ordinary living entity who is attached to the results of pious activities. So their prayer is very powerful, very, very powerful, and very, very true and sastric. The prayer of great sages, yes. So after the great sages made their prayers, next were the siddhas. That means collectively they made this prayer. I don't know whether there was one spokesman on behalf of all of them, but it is a prayer for all representing all of them. Then the Siddhas, those who are living in Siddha Loka, very powerful. They have all the mystery powers. And this is the prayer they said. Yeah, can somebody read for us?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Siddha Uchu. Ayam Swaskatamista. Piyusa Nadyam. Manuvana. Prisa Divagni. Yagda. Chastu Pagaduna. Tasmaradavam. Nanis Ramati Brahma Panava Maha.
Your network is epileptical. Your network is not good.
Like an elephant. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, your network is cracking seriously. Your network is cracking seriously.
Yeah.
Somebody else will read it, please. Later, when your network stabilizes.
Siddha over. Siddha
take it on. Okay.
Siddha Uchu.
Just read the translation because he has read the Sanskrit.
Okay. The Siddha prayed like an elephant that has suffered in a forest fire, but can forget all its troubles by entering a river. Our minds, O Lord, always merge in the nectarian river of your transcendental pastimes, and they desire never to leave such transcendental bliss, which is as good as the pleasure of merging in the absolute. Purport. This statement is from the Siddhas, the inhabitants of Siddha Loka, where the 8 kinds of material perfection are complete. The residents of Siddha Loka have full control in the 8 kinds of yogic perfection, but from their statement it appears that they are pure devotees. They always merge in the nectarian river of hearing of the pastimes of the Lord. Hearing of the pastimes of the Lord is called Krishna Katha. Similarly, there is a statement of Prahlad Maharaj that those who are always merged in the ocean of the nectar of describing the Lord's pastimes are liberated and have no fear of the material condition of life. The Siddhas say that the mind of an ordinary person is full of anxieties. The example is given of the elephant who has suffered in a forest fire and who enters into a river for relief. If persons who are suffering in the forest fire of this material existence will only enter into the nectarian river of the descriptions of the pastimes of the Lord, they will forget all the troubles of the miserable material existence. The Siddhas do not care for fruitive activities such as performing sacrifices and achieving the good results. They simply merge in the transcendental discussions of the pastimes of the Lord. That makes them completely happy, without care for pious or impious activities. For those who are always in Krishna consciousness, there is no need to perform any kind of pious or impious sacrifice or activities. Krishna consciousness is itself complete, for it includes all the processes praised in the Vedic scriptures. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So you can get it. These inhabitants of Siddhaloka, they have all the mystic powers, 8 mystic powers in full. Yet, They compare themselves to be an elephant being tortured by forest fire. Can you imagine? We have not gotten those CDs, and we are thinking those who get the CDs, they are very, very powerful. And so powerful that you cannot even imagine their power. But they are the ones saying here that their situation is just like that of an elephant that is being seriously tortured in a forest fire. And therefore, just as when one is under the influence of fire, you need to take shelter under the river or a lake or the waters. So they are being tortured like that, then they just run to take shelter in the river of the lost pastimes. See, they always march in the nectarian river of hearing of the pastimes of the Lord. Hearing of the pastimes of the Lord is called Krishna Katha. Similarly, there's a statement by Prahlad. So this is it. The pastimes of the Lord, hearing the pastimes of the Lord is the medicine for everyone in this age of Kali. So if we are also tortured, we are actually, every living entity is being tortured by the forest fire of material existence. And they need to quench the heat by taking shelter of the nectarian river of the pastimes of the Lord. So describing the pastimes of the Lord, talking about them, telling others about them, reading and imbibing them, this is a medicine. It is a medicine for everyone in this material world. Everyone is sick with the disease of ignorance and constant hearing of the nectarian pastimes of the Lord. Is a medicine. It's a medicine. And the diet is prasadam. Prasadam is the diet. And constant hearing and chanting and glorification of the Lord is the medicine. And this is confirmed in the 10th canto, first chapter and the 4th verse. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:1-4. This is confirmed. It was spoken by who? He said, Nivritatasai upagiyamana. Nivritatasai upagiyamana. Baba usadak shrotra manoa biramat. Ka utamasloka guna anuvadat. Umam virajeta vina pasugna. Nivritatasai upagiyamana. Baba ushada shrotra manu abirama. Ka utamas loka guna anunvadat. Pumam virajeta vina pasugna. Only pasugnas will not take shelter of the Nivritatasai. Yes, only pasugnas. Only pasugnas. How? It means glorification. Oh, who is calling him this kind of time? Aribo, sorry, please. Gaddafi, let's talk later. We are in a class, please. Yes. So, glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the Paramparam system. That is, it is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those who no longer interested in the false temporary glorification of the cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicines for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicines for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. That is you and me and every other person in this material world. The medicine for us is description of the Lord. That means glorification of the Lord. That means hearing and chanting about the Lord. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except a butcher? A butcher is called a pasugna, or one who is killing his own self. So this is the situation. The medicine is one medicine for all, and it is called ancient medicine for modern man. And this is the glorification of the pastimes of the Lord. And the Bhagavad Gita also somewhere we're told how the great personalities absorb themselves in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. And for that, all their time, they don't know time. They are simply absorbed in glorifying. Katayanta Shavam Nitya Tusyanti Charamanticha. So this is the situation. And the Siddhas, they admitted that though they have all the mystic powers, they are like somebody, like they're like elephants that is being tortured from all, burned from all directions in the forest fire. And therefore, just as those elephant need to take shelter of the nectarian river or lake, so also being tortured in their consciousness, they are taking shelter of the glorification of the holy name of the Lord, which is the medicine for everyone, every condition soul in this age of Kali. So he said, except the complete ignoramus, the butcher, will not absorb himself in these activities. So that is it. We should absorb ourselves in the glorification of the Lord as devotees. And we should teach others how to do same, because that is the medicine.
Hare Krishna, Babu, I have a question.
Hare Krishna.
My question is, how is it that mystical powers, which the Siddhas have, doesn't make them happy? And people are fighting to have mystical powers.
Mystical powers without supplicating yourself to the source of the power will only make you feel that you are very, very special. You are very, very elevated. It will inflate your force. You go to the maximum. Don't you see Dhruva Samuni and co? When mystic powers are not subordinated to devotion, then it results into dryness, forgetfulness, and moving very fast in the wrong direction, flying very fast in the wrong direction. So this is what it does to them. It takes them to deeper and deeper and more subtle and deeper level of forgetfulness, and give them pride, influence their mental space. You are too much, you are more than, well, you can get whatever you want. Even common rich man here in this world, do they have any real interest in the service of God? They think that it is poor men. Serving God is the duty of the poor men. Going to temples or taking God matter seriously. The poor men who are looking for money. I already have my money, so why should I go to church? To worship who? Don't you see my car? You don't see my car. Do you know where I'm living? If you see my house, you will not talk to me. Do you know me? So their false ego is inflated. So imagine the Siddhas. Their false ego is seriously inflated such that unless they have gotten the grace of the Lord, like these ones here now, it's like many of them have knowledge of the Supreme. So they are constantly, to create a balance, to find equilibrium, they are constantly imagining themselves in the pastimes of the Lord. They read the scriptures, they discuss the scriptures so that they can bring themselves to balance. Otherwise, imagine everybody has a lot of mystic power. You know what can be happening? Nobody can hide anything from anybody. Everybody knows what everybody is doing or thinking. And sometimes you'll be seeing the phone clashing in the sky. Two powerful persons will come from different directions. They will collide just to show their power. When they collide, there will be some third force that will be created. If those things are happening here on earth, here, you will see. People will be running out scatter. Hey, that is God. There's some things we don't know them. God is everywhere. Everybody, there are many gods because they'll be seeing many of them. Each person they see has a lot of powers. So anyway, the point is that when you get powers without devotion, it will make you Durvasamuni. When you have devotion, even without an exhibition of power, the powers are already following the devotee automatically. So whenever there is a need to exhibit them, the powers just come out. They are like many servants to the devotees. All the mystic powers, they will just manifest. And it will use it for the purpose and forget they will go beyond it. It doesn't carry it around. That's why when Guru come around, say sometimes when Gurus come around, they ask, oh, what is going on in this temple? Then some devotees will say, I bet it's a Guru that is supposed to know. If it's true Guru, he's supposed to know that what is going on. You don't need to ask anybody. They ask so that they will act like normal person there because that is not their interest. The Lord is keeping those mystic powers for them. Whatever they need to see, in order to move everyone forward, that is what the Lord will allow them to see. So in this way, they themselves, they are also constantly working on their consciousness to remain humble. So the Lord help them to remain humble. But whenever they are in need of that potency, they will just manifest it, pam, and the result is boom, like that. So that's what I can say about that. They are humble here. Because they know that they need shelter of the Supreme to attain equilibrium because they are going deeper and deeper into pride. If you are not careful, you will be so proud and you become like Ravana, intoxicated, until the Lord will appear and kill the person. So they are also always checking themselves by studying scriptures and trying to do services to recognizing the Lord. So they appear to be devotees there. Definitely they will have temple. They will have temple where they will be doing bhajans and all that, and doing Bhagavad Gita and all that. Though their subject matters or discussions will be very, very deep and very, very wide, wider than our own. But there are so many more varieties of problems to deal with there, very subtle varieties of problems to deal with on that level. So their own Bhagavatam will be so loaded with all the stories of the Puranas, all combined together in one Bhagavatam. They will be scrutinizingly studying, giving Bhagavatam classes, doing Bhakti Vaibhav courses there. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
If you have read the previous prayers, also you have questions as we are going on, you can also bring it out so that we can deliberate. But for absenting yourselves from the class without any explanation, the reward is that we will not talk about those verses unless you yourself you have read them. Then you ask questions on any of them, then we will attempt to answer. Yesterday was like a disaster, as if it was a plan. As if it was a plan for everybody to avoid class. There was no Madhuvan, there was no Kamalas, there was no Tamal. There was Rasavan from the beginning, but it did not last. There was Salika from the middle, it lasted to the end. There was Chitraketu towards the last quarters, and that was the whole attendance. So we are reacting in a transcendental way also by not talking about what we read. So we challenge you to read those tests, ask questions on them. either now or in our next class. Okay. If there are some questions or commentaries on this particular verse, please. That makes them completely happy without care for pious or impious activities. For those who are always in Krishna consciousness, there is no need to perform any kind of pious or impious sacrifices or activities. Krishna consciousness is itself complete, for it includes all the processes praised in the Vedic scriptures. In other words, for one who is a devotee, the Krishna Bhakta, Vaishnava, he does not need to perform all those sacrifices enjoined in the Vedas. It does not, it's not obliged. Yeah, if it's a householder, he can still perform some, but it's not obliged. It's not really obliged to perform those sacrifices. And we know those verses that support that. And we always quote the Varisibhutapta. It's always there. It's a verse that we cannot run away from. The Varisibhutapta Nirinam Pitrinam Na King Karunaya Rini Charajan Savatmanaya Saranam Saraya Gato Mukunda Parihritya Kata De Yata Taromu Lanishe Sanena Tripyantitat Skanda Bujo Upasaka Pranopara Chayatendriyanam Tatai Basavaranam Achutija. So once you become a devotee, you are not obliged to do many of those things. Just by becoming devotees, automatically all those things are done. The result to be accrued by doing all those sacrifices are already within devotional service. So let's all do devotional service very well with all our heart, with purely refined service attitude. Purely refined service attitude, and the rest will automatically be taken care of. Another local example is when you have $1,000, automatically you have $800, you have $500, you have $200, you have $50, automatically. So when you are a devotee, automatically all that is to be attained by all other practices of jagyas and austerities is automatically within. It's attained because the devotional service is a superset and all other practices are subsets. Hare Krishna. Ji Kamalash.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Should I read the next text?
Yes, go ahead.
Yajamani Uvacha Swagatam te prasadesha Tobhyam Nama Srinivasa Sriya Kantaya Trahina Twarite Desha Nangai Maka Subate Sisha Hina Kabando Yata Purusha. Translation. The wife of Daksha prayed as follows: My dear Lord, it is very fortunate that you have appeared in this arena of sacrifice. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, and I request that you will be pleased on this occasion. The sacrificial arena is not beautiful without you, just as a body is not beautiful without the head. Purport.
Wait. Who is this wife of Daksha? Who is the wife of Daksha? Mention her name.
This Suki.
Don't speculate. Say it is Prasuti. You say it so that we know that is what you said. Eh?
Sister of Devauti.
What is her name?
Pasuti.
Okay.
Pasuti.
Okay, it's okay. She's the mother of Sati.
Pasuti. Prasuti.
It's Prasuti. Carry on, Kamalaji.
Another name of Lord Vishnu is Yajneshwara. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that all activities should be performed as Vishnu Yagya for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. Unless we please Him, whatever we do is the cause of our bondage in the material world. This is confirmed herein by the wife of Daksha. Without your presence, the grandeur of this sacrificial ceremony is useless. Just as a body without a head, however decorate it may be, is useless. The comparison is equally applicable to the social body. Mature civilization is very proud of being advanced, but it is actually the useless throne of a body without a head. Without Krishna consciousness, without an understanding of Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, any advancement in a civilization, no matter how sophisticated, is of no value. There is a statement in the Hari Bhakti Sududaya 3:11. Bhagavad Bhakti Binasya Jati Shastram Japastama Apanaya Dehasya Mandanam Loka Rajanam. The purport is that sometimes when a friend or relative dies, especially among lower class men, the dead body is decorated, dressed, and ornamented. The body is taken in procession. That sort of decoration of the dead body has no actual value because the life force is already gone. Similarly, any aristocracy, any social prestige, or any advancement of material civilization without Krishna consciousness is as good as the decoration of a dead body. The name of the wife of Daksha was Prashuti, and she was the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. Her sister Devahuti was married to Kadava Muni, and Kapila Dev, the personality of Godhead, became her son. Prashuti then was the auntie of Lord Vishnu. She was asking the favor of Lord Vishnu in an affectionate mode. Since she was his aunt, she thought she sought some special favor. Also significant in this verse is that the Lord is praised with the goddess of fortune. Wherever Lord Vishnu is worshipped, naturally there is no favor. Naturally there is the favor of the goddess of fortune. Lord Vishnu is addressed as Amrita, transcendental. The demigods, including Brahma and Lord Shiva, were produced after the creation, but Lord Vishnu existed before the creation. He is addressed, therefore, as Amrita. Lord Vishnu is worshipped with his internal energy by the Vaishnavas. Prashuti, the wife of Daksha, implored the Lord to turn the priests into Vaishnavas instead of simply fruitive workers performing sacrifices for some material benefits. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. He is addressed, therefore, as Amrita. Lord Vishnu is worshipped with his internal energy by the Vaishnavas. Prasuti, the wife of Daksha, implored the Lord to turn the priests into Vaishnavas instead of simply fruitive workers performing sacrifices for material benefit. So that is it. A head is useless without, a body is useless without a head. So any sacrifice that is not subordinated for the pleasure of the Lord is not meant to please the Lord ultimately. It's useless. It's as useless as the body without a head. And by the same token, all activities and engagements we perform, if they are not subordinated to the pleasure of the Lord, they are just like a decoration on a dead body, as in the case as quoted in this verse. Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Jati Sastram Japastapa Apranasya Ibadihasya Mandanam Lukaranjanam. Yes. Decorated body, all kinds of activities, they are just like decorations on a dead body. Any aristocracy, any social prestige, or any advancement of material civilization without Krishna consciousness is like a dead body without a head. Yes, it's as good as the decoration on the dead body. So that is it. Very, very philosophical and very, very devotional. You can see that Prasuti is a powerful devotee of the Lord. Powerful Vaishnava. Very powerful Vaishnava. Therefore, he's imploring the Lord. You have appeared in this sacrificial arena. All these priests who are so ordinarily, geared towards getting fruits of sacrifice, and for that sake, ignored and offended many, many, many great personalities, do not see the great qualities of devotees. You should turn that their heart is dry. Make them into devotees. Make them into Vaishnavas so that the head will be there. Only then will they be attractive. Otherwise, Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya. Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya. It is not for the pleasure of the Lord. Whether it's Jatiyo, Sasramu, Chapao, Tapao, everything at all is just like decoration on the dead body. Material opulence, education, chanting of mantras, they are decoration on the dead body, if the head is not there. So you are the head. You are the head. So everything should be meant for your pleasure. Now that you have appeared, that means the head has come inside. So all auspiciousness will reign from there. So thank you very much for coming. Turn these people into Vaishnava so that their life will be meaningful. That is the same analogy. If you have hundreds of zeros and there is no figure behind, it is useless. Zero has no value, even if you have thousands of zeros in one place. But when you put just one behind, automatically you become millions and billions and trillions. So similarly, all these sacrifices, any activity that your pleasure is not the motivation, it is a useless activity. This is what he's saying. And it is very true. It is very true. It is very true. Anything at all, any material opulence at all, anything, however attractive it is, be it wealth, fame, estates, knowledge, diamonds, whatever possession we have, if they are not meant for glorifying God, they are as useless as decorations on a dead body. What is the value of decorations on a dead body? What is the value? There is no value. Even if you put golden chain on a dead body, there is no value. Yeah? You put golden ring on a dead body, there is no value. The only value, the only thing it will attract is that somebody will go and break the coffin. They break everything and steal it away. That is all. It will attract thieves. So a life without devotion to God is dry life. However attractive it may look, it will crumble in the presence of time. So what is the use of such opulence? On the other hand, if somebody has a lot, and even if he appears to be materially not very rich, he has everything because the Lord is the source of everything. And if the Lord is pleased with you, definitely whatever you need will come to be. We provide it. And that's why he said the Lord, for the Lord, he provides what we lack. And he preserves what we have. He carries what we lack and he preserves what we have. We just need to become devotees of the Lord. And that is all. Everything else will fall in place. Everything else will fall in place if we become devotees of the Lord. As long as we are watering the root, the leaves and the branches and the twigs and every part of the tree will be nourished. What is the difficulty in understanding this? So if you are very expert in performing all kinds of activities, and if the pleasure of the Lord is not the motivator, if the pleasure of the Lord is not the center, then it is a useless waste of time. It's a decoration on a dead body at best. So that's it. Any question on this? We'll go for that. Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya. This verse. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the explanation. We have spoken very extensively Bhakti here. And it's very sweet hearing them. It is very pleasing to the soul. The challenge now is, even when we have come to Bhakti or process of devotional service, there's always a gap in between our beginning of devotional service and that state that's been described here, where one releases the pleasure and realizes that nothing is actually futile without Krishna. What does a devotee, practicing devotee, do in between that time when he's hearing these beautiful narrations, beautiful glories, beautiful rewards, benefits of Bhakti, and the time that he actually gets there? What is expected of a devotee? Please aspire.
Yes. Thank you very much. That we have already given a hint that a devotee should be determined. A devotee should be very determined to carry out the instructions. A devotee should be determined to avoid all the don'ts, and he should be determined to do all the do's in the matter of surrendering to the Lord. Because the first component of surrender is to avoid all those things that are not favorable to the execution of devotional service. And the second component of surrender is to accept all those things that are favorable to the execution of devotional service, even though they might apparently be troublesome at the beginning. So when we have that strong determination to implement these principles, when we have strong determination to implement the rules and regulations, when you have strong determination to chant our rounds, to carry out the order of the spiritual master, and to do the 9 processes of Bhakti to the best of our ability, when we have that strong determination to follow the instructions of the spiritual master, then that determination will now define our service attitude. It is then only we become unconditional. That verse becomes relevant. Tate anukampam susami samanu bunjana evatma kritam vipakam ridvag bapubi vidadana namaste jiveta yomuki padesa dayabak. Whatever happens on our way, on the part of our devotional service, we see it as the costless mercy of the Lord, that we should have suffered so much more, but the Lord, being very costlessly merciful, have reduced this suffering to just this little token, something that I can cope with. Therefore, my devotional service will not be affected. Unconditionally, I continue to do my service. So despite all temptations, despite all seeming adversity, a devotee is fixed in his service. So if we are positioned, if our posture is like that, if our attitude is to see the hand of the Lord in every situation, the Lord will never be lost to us, and we will never be lost to him. And eventually, we will become humble. We will become humble because the more we know, the more we see that we do not know. The more we are practicing, the more we see how insignificant we are, how much more we need the grace of the Lord. The more we are trying to do the right thing, the more we see how much more we need the grace of the Lord. So we continue to position ourselves more and more, to the extent that some pure devotees, high quality devotees, they begin to pray for the Lord to bring more challenges, because whenever there are challenges, it is a push for them to take shelter of the Lord, to surrender more to the Lord, to pray to the Lord, to intensify their devotional practices. So they praying for that. We are not on that platform, but we should be determined at least to do the right thing, and that will define our service attitude. And that service attitude will eventually precipitate us onto the platform of real humility, after attaining which everything else turned to sunset. So in between our present stage and this ultimate stage, we should sharpen our focus and our determination to implement the instructions and the rules and regulations, instructions of our Guru, and try to maintain that focus. We will arrive. If we do that, we eventually arrive. So it is a push. Yes. And we eventually arrive there. So in a nutshell, in a direct answer, let us continue to focus or intensify our determination to do the right thing. We should intensify that determination to do the right thing. We should not allow circumstances to bend us from the goal. Instead, we should sharpen our focus very nicely and intensify our focus. Then all other forces will push us through. Our determination will attract divine intervention that will see us through. Yes, just as the sparrow's determination attracted the divine intervention of Garuda for the ocean to retrieve its egg. The sparrow alone is very tiny. It cannot confront, it cannot fight with the ocean. But the ocean has swallowed the eggs, and it was determined to dry this ocean. And it started taking action in the direction of its determination. And that attracted divine intervention. The news went round all over the universe. That look, oh, there is one little sparrow who was determined to dry up the ocean. And he will just pick small water in his beak. He'll fly for hours, miles. You go and drop it in the desert and come back. He's trying to dry the ocean. It was a laughing stock in the universe. But when the news got to the right person, Garuda said, huh? There's a sparrow with such a determination to dry the ocean? Yes, because he wants his eggs. His determination is to get his eggs. And the ocean is ignoring him, refusing to bring the eggs back. Then Garuda said, oh, if that's the case, I myself will go there. And he went there and told you, ocean, return the eggs of the sparrow now. Otherwise, I will dry you up. This is my junior brother. We are not alone. So when our determination becomes strong to wanting to do the right thing, we attract the mercy of the group. We experience the shelter of Krishna or the Super Soul. We experience the shelter of the entire Parampara. We experience the shelter of our spiritual masters. And we experience the shelter of other Vaishnavas. So this is the formula, following which the man will not lament. Okay, does that address it a little bit? Because there are some other things we need to take into consideration. You can still bring them out.
Thank you very much, Chaitanya Prema Prabhu, for beautifully answering this question. This is a very wonderful way of answering the question. When I was asking the questions, I was just trying to remind us of the basics. Because sometimes when we get too absorbed in the philosophy, being familiarized with the process of the devotional service, we unconsciously forget the basis. And that forgetfulness of the basis is what actually becomes our delusion. And our delusion puts us in illusion, and then we fall back to the whirlpool of materials and science. So Srila Rupa Goswami beautifully gave these basic principles. And you have actually mentioned them. I was just wanting to highlight them. I want you to highlight them. You've highlighted them. Determination alone cannot stand the strength of struggle towards practicing to become a bhakta. One has to be determined. It's the first thing. One has to be very strongly determined that this thing I must achieve it. But determination alone will not get us there. So we need patience. And that you have beautifully captured that in 13 Nukampam verse. One has to be very, very patient. One has to be very tolerant, sorry. 13 Nukampam addresses the issues of being tolerant. One has to tolerate all of the challenges that is coming, even when we're determined. Because sometimes when you're determined to achieve something and there's so much of inconveniences, the tendency is to want to draw back. So 13 Nukampam verse addresses the issues of tolerance. We are determined, but determination alone is not enough. We have to be tolerant. And even when we are being tolerant, we have to be patient. Srila Rupa Goswami highlighted these three, and Srila Prabhupada beautifully explained them in Nectar of Devotion. So I was just going to bring out this remembrance of these three basic principles, even though we've learned them from the day one of our devotional service, but sometimes we tend to forget it. in the course of the so many beautiful narrations we hear. So I just wanted to highlight these three basic principles, and then you've captured them very nicely by quoting those, by emphasizing on the determination which you have mentioned before, and also quoting Tatenu Kampam, verse which takes us to resonating with the need for tolerance and patience or perseverance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
But
much
then,
for asking the question and for clarifying it. Actually, this patience, the analogy given, another example added to it is like if a woman marries a man, or if a man marries a woman, they expect a child. But the woman has to be patient because she will conceive, but she has to wait for at least 9 months for the child to come out. Definitely there will be a child, but she has to be patient. She has to wait patiently for 9 months. So patience is required, seriously. Tolerance, patience, self-control, seeing things, becoming a tattoo, everything is inside. So if we develop that, we refine our attitude and also boost, and confirm our determination that yes, when you want to get something good, you have to have some patience. The Lord is seeing us, is seeing our efforts, but at his own time, we crown it. So in due course, we should not give up. We should be fixed in our devotional practices. And in the end, we will arrive. So thank you very much for.
yes, but before we leave this point, because the last 6, 7, 8 verses has been emphasizing these beautiful glories of Bhakti. And we have analyzed that these 3 principles are required, which you have beautifully highlighted. But the foundational principle, which is determination, how do we get there? How do we get this determination? Because the reality is that in our beginning of devotion and in our new fight stage, this determination is not very strong. So if we need determination as a foundational foundation for developing, because if one has determination, it becomes easy to get the tolerance and then eventually and the patience that is required. So how do we get this determination in devotional service?
How do we get determination in devotional service? Yes, by association, first with those who are practicing with determination, those who are consistent in their practices. You associate with them, simultaneously cut off association with those who are not inclined, who are lukewarm in their attitude towards the practices. You associate with those who are taking the practices seriously. You dissociate from those who are not interested in attending programs, doing their rounds, who don't take the regulatory principles seriously, who are eating boga, who are talking prajapa. You dissociate from them at the beginning. And when you dissociate from them, you intensify your association with those who are practicing, who want to become who are already on the path of what you want to be. You associate with them very seriously, and then you should cultivate knowledge. One key point, you should cultivate knowledge, because you need to use the weapon of detachment to cut off all the attachments you had before coming to devotional service. You have to have knowledge about your real identity. You are not this body, you are a spirit, soul, how everything is related to God, and how knowledge means understanding God, understanding the living entity, understanding the 3 modes of nature, understanding time, understanding activities. These are the 5 subject matter of the Gita. So when you endeavor to have that understanding deep, that means you need knowledge. You have to have affinity for studying the scripture. But when you have that affinity for studying the scripture, why? Because the scripture sharpens, it sharpens that weapon of knowledge, like the weapon of knowledge like a cutlass. The Sanghas Ashrena, you need to cut off yourself. The weapon of detachment. Okay, the weapon itself is detachment. That is the weapon. You have to detach from unholy things, attach to holy things. But to sharpen that weapon of determination, you need, discrimination. And that discrimination, you get it from sacred study. This is the point. The weapon is the weapon of detachment. Asanga Sastrina, that you cannot find the root of the banyan tree of material existence. You can't find the root to cut it off. Because each branch will touch the ground and it become root. Another branch will touch the ground, it become root until it has spread miles. So you can't know where the actual root is. So what you can do is to try to cut yourself off. And that is why you move until you come to meet the association of devotees. Then you have to cut off your previous association, at the beginning at least, and avoid all unholy associations, where the people are doing things that are adverse to what you are trying to practice. You cut off. This is a weapon of detachment. Now, simultaneously, you get attached to those who are following the system very nicely. So but then to do that, you have to sharpen that weapon with discrimination. You have to sharpen the weapon of detachment with discrimination. The file of discrimination, to sharpen the cutlass, you need discrimination. And that's why we need to study the scripture very well. Then you understand the thing very well and do it properly. So this is needed. To acquire proper determination, we need to use the weapon of detachment, sharpen with proper discrimination, then associate with those who are like-minded. Then we are on track. In due course, we arrive. You see,
Chitra, mute yourself. Chitra, mute. Chitra, mute.
Chitra Putra, mute, Chitra. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So this is how it is, Prabhu. At least for the beginning. You have to practice detachment, constant practice and detachment. Even Krishna also told Arjuna to do that. Constant practice and detachment. Then your weapon of detachment should be sharpened by discrimination. Discrimination you get by studying the scriptures, as we are trying to do. Then eventually we arrive. And one beautiful point is that when we are doing these devotional activities, there is fire inside. Inside this devotional package that is given to us, there is fire. That fire will bring us to realize knowledge. You don't see it, that there is this fire, that realize knowledge is inside. These activities we are doing that were handed over to us, chant your rounds, do regulate your activities, do the 9 processes of bhakti under guidance. Inside it, there is knowledge. That knowledge is realized knowledge. Just like fire is in the wood, but you don't see the fire, you only see the wood. It is when you ignite the fire with other fiery elements that you see that you ignite the wood, then the fire will now come out from the wood. Understand? So similarly, if we begin to practice, we see that fire of realized knowledge, we are working within us. Then we begin to have a direct perception of the self by realization that we know that this thing we are doing is real. When you are putting it to practice, you will get that taste. And that realization will now keep you going until you eventually arrive at fixed determination. After attaining which, you never go back. To the extent that some people begin to pray for more and more challenges, more and more obstacles. So that because that is become a push from behind for them to take shelter of the Lord. And the more they take shelter of the Lord, the more they are covered by the grace of the Lord. Like a child who is in the presence of his parent. We want to constantly be in the presence of God through these processes. Then God take care of your protection automatically. Whoever God wants to protect, no one can hurt. And whoever God wants to kill, no one can protect. And this is the level. Bhakti Vaibhav Lord. So very beautiful thing There is fire of knowledge hiding inside these devotional activities. That's why when they are given to us, those who practice them very well, you see that they are realizing their realization is increasing. Their advanced managerial qualities are building up more and more. But for those who don't take it seriously, they will not experience that fire of realized knowledge. And that makes the difference. You see? It is inside. The fire is there, but until when you practice, you realize it. By the same token, we are advised to practice Niskama Kama Yoga. When we are practicing Niskama Kama Yoga, the activity of Niskama Kama Yoga, whereby you are working with knowledge of your real identity as a spirit soul, part and parcel of God, and you are becoming detached in the process, and you are constantly meditating on the Lord. There is fire inside. The fire of realized knowledge is inside, and it will be awakened, just like as we have sparked the matches on a cotton. You see? Inside the cotton also there is fire, but until you spark the match, before it will catch. So similarly, there is realized knowledge inside those regulated practices. And when we start practicing, the fire will ignite, and if you burn down to ashes all unwanted things, then your realization will be increasing geometrically from within. Then you become more and more fixed, unconditional. The more things are happening to you, the more you are fixed. Then in the future, you enter the scriptures. You will be added to the scriptures in the future. If you are able to live such a life, you say, oh, what you are talking about is very small. You remember so devoted. When he was practicing the way, look at what happened to him, this happened to him, this happened to him, this happened to him. Yet, he remained fixed in the devotional service. This is the example we want. You should not be in a universal school and you don't expect temptation. Then how are you going to be promoted? Now, this devotee is praying for more and more examinations so that he can be promoted to the next level. So the Lord is giving him harder tests, and he's passing the test, he's getting promoted. You enter the scripture. Anyway, Hare Krishna. If that addresses the point, and if it addresses it partially, and I see something to add, you can still add too. Now, if any other person wants to add something.
Thank you very much. For one time, let us move forward. You've addressed them very nicely.
Okay, thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Okay, the next verse, Salika Prabhu, read it now. The local palace. Are you there?
Which is the last test you read?
I don't even know by that too. Unless I go back.
No, just read English test. Just English test, I will remain. Is it the
37? We should read 37. 37 is the next one.
That's what I'm trying to do. Thank you. The wife of Dakshas were the last one, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, it's 37. You should read.
Destantinodric bi asagreas twaham praktya drasta drisyate jena viswam mayahi esha bhavadiyahi buna yastwam sashta panchabi basi bhutehe. The governors of various planets spoke as follows: Dear Lord, we believe only in our direct perception, but under the circumstances, we do not know whether we have actually seen you with our material senses. By our material senses, we can simply perceive the cosmic manifestation, but you are beyond the 5 elements. You are the 6th. We see you, therefore, as a creation of the material world. Prabhupada's purport. The governors of the various planets are certainly materially opulent and very puffed up. Such persons are unable to understand the transcendental eternal form of the Lord. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that only persons who have anointed their eyes with love of Godhead can see the personality of Godhead in every step of their activities. Also, in the prayers of Kunti, in the Bhagavatam 1st Canto, chapter 8, text number 26, it is stated that only those who are akinchana gocharam, who are not materially puffed up, can see the Supreme Personality of God. Others are bewildered and cannot even think of the absolute truth. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Akinchana Gochara. When you hear the word Akinchana Gochara, what came to your mind? What do you remember? What do you remember? Akinchana Gochara. What I remember is dirty bucket of water, somebody carrying dirty bucket of water. When it comes across clean lake, what does it do? It first throw away the dirty water to free the space to fetch the clean one. But to get the clean one, it must throw away the old dirty water. This is the principle of Akinchana Gochara. You see, Akinchana Gochara. So you throw away all the old water you carry in the bucket so that you can be able to fetch the new one. So when we come in contact with devotional service, when we start practicing devotional service, all our previous, misgivings, we have to empty it first. The Lord takes away all those unnecessary things. Then He now fills us with all the necessary things. To the extent that even sometimes, if anything is on the going to act as obstacle on our way, it removes it. Even like Narada Muni, you have to remove the mother. The mother have to go first. Then he focus now fixed. And if it is attachment like Srila Prabhupada, for instance, his Mataji you have to live first. The Lord show him the other way. She has to go. Me or T. T, of course. So immediately, Krishna is taking away those things that are going to be obstacles on his path, then situating. And in this way, Akinchana Gochara principle come to play. So the governors of the various planets are certainly materially opulent and very puffed up. That such persons are unable to understand the transcendental form of the Lord. Yes. Also in the prayers of Kunti, yes, it is said that only those who are Kinchana Gochara, who are materially exhausted, who are not materially puffed up, can see the Supreme Personality of God face to face. Others who are bewildered, and cannot even think of the absolute truth. You see. So this is the way. Therefore, the local powers are praying. The governors of the various planets spoke as follows: Dear Lord, we believe only in our direct perception. Only what we see we believe. But under the circumstances, we do not know whether we have actually seen you with our material eyes. Even in seeing the Lord in their presence, they still don't see, because they don't know whether they are seeing with clear senses or not, or they are seeing with materially contaminated senses. And what is actually, are we really seeing you? You are present before us, but we cannot see you, because only those whose eyes are tinted with the salve of love can see. But did you know the Lord can manifest himself to anyone? Because if you want to base on your qualification to see the Lord or relate with the Lord, you might not be able to do it in all your lifetimes. But if the Lord chooses to make himself manifest to you, he can manifest to you. And this is the same principle of the elephant kneel down. The elephant kneel down. That if anybody want to touch the head of the elephant, it's very, very difficult. But if the elephant itself kneel down, even a child can touch its head. So similarly, the supreme law cannot be comprehended by our tiny brain and tiny intelligence. So he himself manifests himself in the form of the deities. Like the elephant kneel down. He manifests himself in the form of the deities so that we can have opportunity to touch him, dress him, serve him, just to receive our services. So the deity incarnation of the Lord is the mercy incarnation of the Lord. And the Lord can manifest himself. He has manifested himself in this sacrificial arena. And the local parties, they were just honest enough to say that since they were influenced, their mental space is preoccupied by the desire to control. And they don't know whether they're actually seeing him purely with their senses, with purified senses, or they're looking at him. But what they know is that he's standing there. By our material senses, we can simply perceive the cosmic manifestation. Only gross things we can see. But you are beyond the 5 elements. In other words, you are the 6th element. We can't see you. We can't see, we can only see gross things. But you have manifested yourself. Are we really seeing you? Anyway, by your costless mercy, you have made yourself available. We see you, therefore, as the creation of the material world. You see? So please purify our senses so that we can see you properly. Because we are too caught up in trying to see things with our materially contaminated eyes. So this is a beautiful prayer reflecting lots of humility. And this is, you pray according to your service attitude, and that will determine your level of realization. So we should walk in a way that the Lord will reveal himself to us. We should not try to see God with our materially contaminated eyes, but we should walk in a way that the Lord will see us and he will say, yes, you, I see you working very hard. Why? Then he can touch our head with his transcendental conscience, and we become enlightened like Dhruva Maharaj. See, all our senses will be enlightened. So in all circumstances, everyone depends on the grace of the Lord for anything at all. Even for our eyes to see, we depend on his grace. For us to wake up tomorrow morning, we depend on the grace of the Lord. We cannot do anything by our strength. It is the grace of the Lord that is sustaining us. And the sooner we become humble like that and see clearly, the better for us. The local parties are showing us this example, governors of the various planets.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. So here, in this context, who is the governor of the various planets?
You said?
Who is the governor of the various planets?
Okay, they are called local palace. They are called local palace. It is not, they are not one, no. It's not one person. There are many. Yes, there are many, and they are called local palace. They are called the governors of the different planets. Every planet, there are innumerable planets, and they have governors there. And these governors, they like one person represent, they all generate their thought into one person, and that person will speak on behalf of all of them. That's what is happening. Okay, the next verse. Yadu Baba, are you actually there? Okay, Jisalik, you have a question?
Yes, I have a question, and I need you to clarify my doubt.
Okay.
I'm becoming confused by the explanation you gave, because I already started thinking in recent time that this idea, when you are giving purport to go Akinchana Gocharan, you explained that one has to give up, and you gave an analogy. One has to throw away the dirty things to be able to get the good thing inside, the cup, the pot, whatever. But I think this is a lower way of understanding Akinchana Gocharam, because from practical experience, we see that this was the philosophy when we joined devotional service. And many devotees actually throw away everything they seemingly have, even though they don't have anything. But whatever they think they have, they gave up their education, they gave up their family, they gave up their everything. And when we become deep into the journey, the spiritual master is telling us, no, you need to be connected to your families. You should be engaging them. The material education, you need to engage it in service of Krishna. The principles of the Krishna consciousness is Yukta Vairagya, so not giving it up. But when you are explaining now that we should give up everything, I started wondering whether I'm not getting confused, because attachment is said to be achieved by detachment, and detachment is actually achieved by attachment. And what this means is that if one wants to become detached, it should become attached to Krishna. If one wants to become attached to Krishna, it should be detached from material engagement or material attachment. And because detaching oneself from material entanglement is not easy for one who is conditioned, so the easy way is to actually engage and attach oneself to the service of Krishna, like you explained earlier on before in one of your explanations, that just by engaging in Krishna consciousness principles, according to the association that one finds in the association of devotees, one develops all the good qualities of a demigod. So this idea of Akinchana Gocharam and emphasizing giving up everything, I think is becoming confusing to me. Please, could you explain further?
Okay. That is the same thing we are talking of. By constant practice and detachment, that detachment aspect is giving up your old ways of doing things. That's the meaning of throwing away the old cup of water or bottle of water or bucket of water. By giving up your old ways of doing things. Like we were all eating meat, fish, and eggs and gambling, and we don't even know that they were all wrong. Unless you throw away all those conceptions, and you throw them away as you come in contact with devotional service and simultaneously embrace the process of devotional service, how can you make advancement? Or if somebody considers himself a very great philosopher, very, very great philosopher, and he comes with the process of Bhakti, he'll be trying to use his intelligence to understand Krishna, but the more he tries, the more he gets confused. So we say, submit yourself. First, accept that Krishna, you are inconceivable, you are too much. God, you are too much. I cannot see you with my eyes, these materially contaminated eyes. Therefore, I surrender unto you. Your eyes are still there. But for now, you are seeing spiritual objects with material vision. So you have to learn the art and science of seeing spiritual objects with spiritual vision. And to get that spiritual vision, you need to practice in the association of devotees to begin to see eventually that actually everything belongs to God, and God can appear through any of his energies, and the energies and the energy and the energetic are simultaneously one and different. So you have to have this understanding. This is what I mean by giving up, throwing away the old water. Not that whatever education you have, you throw your certificate away. That is not exactly what. It's the consciousness. It's the consciousness we are talking about. You give up yourself, remove yourself from the center. Remove yourself from the center. Things are not revolving around you. Things are revolving around God. It is you that's having a misconception that things are revolving around you. Give up that misconception. Give the center back to God, because the center actually belongs to God. Once you do that, you will see how everything is connected. And you will see how all the varieties in this world are united with by the denominator called service to God. There are many varieties, but they are united by service to God. So how to see things in this way is exactly what we mean, replacing lower engagements with higher engagements. param driswa nevartante. This is what we are saying. Replacing lower engagement. If you have been dancing to Michael Jackson, then you stop dancing to Michael Jackson. If you have been dancing to reggae, Bob Marley, stop dancing to Bob Marley's reggae. Then you start dancing to Krishna Ketan. You are replacing lower engagement. It is not the dancing that you are giving up, but who are you dancing for? What are you dancing for? You replace lower engagement with higher engagement. You stop eating chewing meat, fish and egg, but now eat only prashada. You replace lower engagement with higher engagement. Instead of studying mundane literatures, you replace them by studying scriptures. Instead of focusing on knowledge about this world, how to enjoy it, you focus on knowledge about your real identity. That principle of acquiring knowledge should not be given up. But you change the quality, you replace lower quality with higher quality, lower vision with higher vision, lower engagement with higher engagement. This is exactly what I was trying to talk about. Maybe it didn't come out well, but that's what I wanted to talk about. Throwing away the dirty water means changing your old ways of doing things to new ways of doing things. And that new way of doing things is to see Krishna in the center. You are still engaging, but your engagement is now with knowledge, higher knowledge, just as Krishna wanted Arjuna to engage. But you say engage with knowledge of your real identity as a soul, that the body can never be saved at any time. And the soul can also not be destroyed at any time. So with this understanding, just do your duty and don't be attached to the result. So this is exactly what I meant, replacing lower engagement with higher engagements. I don't know whether it clarifies it a little bit.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Baba, Hare Krishna. Okay. If somebody has questions, you can still bring it forth. Otherwise, we go ahead with the next verse.
Yogeshwara over. Okay. Yes, yeah, do not. Please go ahead.
Okay. Yogeshwara Choho, Priyanatenyo, Stianot Tia Prabo, Vishwat Manikshe Napritaria Atmana, Atapi Bhakti Shatayo Pada Vatam, Anaya Vrityanu Granhana Vatsala. Sorry. Excuse me. Translation. The great mystic said, Dear Lord, persons who see you as not different from themselves, knowing that you are the super soul of all living entities, are certainly very, very dear to you. You are very favorable towards those who engage in devotional service, accepting you as the Lord and themselves as the servants. By your mercy, you are always inclined in their favor. Purport. Sorry, or something is blocking me here. The great mystic said, Dear Lord, persons who see you as not different from themselves. Oh, purport. It is indicated in this verse that the monists and the great mystics know the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one. This oneness is not the misunderstanding that a living entity is equal in every respect to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This monism is based on pure knowledge as described and confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7:17. Priyo hijnani no tya tam aham, sacha mama priya. The Lord says that those who are advanced in transcendental knowledge and know the science of Krishna consciousness are very dear to him. And he also is very dear to them. Those who are actually in perfect knowledge of the science of God know that the living entities are superior energy of the Supreme Lord. This is stated in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter. The material energy is inferior and the living entities are superior energy. Energy and the energetic are non-different. Therefore, energies possess the same quality as the energetic. Persons who are in full knowledge of the personality of Godhead, analyzing its different energies and knowing their own constitutional position, are certainly very, very dear to the Lord. Persons, however, who may not even be conversant with knowledge of the Supreme Personality, but who always think of the Lord with love and faith, feeling that he is great and that they are his parts and parcels, ever his servitors, are even more favored by him. The particular significance of this verse is that the Lord is addressed as Varsala. Varsala means always favorably disposed. The Lord's name is Bhakta Varsala. The Lord is famous as Bhakta Varsala, which means that he is always favorably inclined to the devotees, whereas he is never addressed anywhere in the Vedic literature as Gnani Varsala. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so the great mystics, when you say great mystics here, we are really talking about the yogis. And the yogis are always used to seeing the Lord as the super soul, as being everywhere. The Lord in his form as the super soul. That is the goal of their meditation. And when they realize the super soul, they see that they and the super soul are one. And the mistake is they try to merge into the super soul and remain as one, relinquishing their individuality. But the Bhakta knows that it's one with the Lord, but that oneness is in purpose. That oneness is in purpose. They are one in purpose with the Lord. So that is the oneness of the Bhaktas. And this, realizing the super soul feature is also a true level of realization. The super soul exists, but the perfection of the yogi in wanting to merge with the super soul is high, but is not the highest, because in the spiritual world, individuality still exists. You are eternal, the Lord is eternal. That is true. So you are qualitatively one with him, but you are still quantitatively different. And also individuality, your individuality is maintained. And it is on the platform of individuality that personality or personalism is predicated. Personalism means God is a person, I am a person. Then service connects us together. I am minutely individual, he is supremely individual. And the perfection of the minute individual is to work in harmony with the supreme individual. So when they are working in that harmony, then there is perfection. So that is the difference. And the Lord, he sees the devotees, the service factor is there, and that activity factor, that differentiates the Bhakta from the Jnani. The Jnani just sit in one place and meditate and cease from all activities and merge into the super soul. The Bhakta factor, the individuality is there. The imperfection, the Bhakta is still doing things for the Lord. He's bringing flowers. He's doing things to please the Lord. He wants the Lord to. No, he is relating. And a relationship on the spiritual platform produces more nectar. So for one who has reached that level of relating with him in the matter of engaging his individuality in the service of the supreme individual, is more productive and is gratifying, and it attracts the Lord more. And that is where the Lord becomes Bhakta Varsala. He becomes favorably inclined, becomes a friend of his devotee. Whereas it's not addressed anywhere as Jnani Varsala. Though there's a relationship and they are very advanced, still, it is not the ultimate. You see, the Jnana yogi is still looking for the super soul. Finally, you see the super soul. Instead of maintaining the individuality and serving the supreme soul, he tried to march into the supreme soul and try to remain inactive. See, so it's incomplete renunciation because in the future, because the soul is by nature very active, there is a tendency for it to fall down from there, begin to engage in philanthropic activities again, because the soul is by nature very active. That is the nature of the soul. You cannot separate it from. So to keep it like this muted for a very long time is punishment actually. So it is preferable. The Bhakta is preferred and is considered the supreme mystic because his service relationship with the Lord continues. But these particular mystics, they are trying to see that they are one in purpose with the Lord also, because on a lower level, they are acting as, agent of giving knowledge that the Lord is in the heart of every living entity. It's only the conclusion is not mature, but the Lord is actually in the heart of every living entity. And because of this immaturity, they conclude that you are God, I am God, He is God, everybody is God. So the conclusion is wrong. And they cannot advance further because that service is removed. That which links them and the Supreme is now removed. You see? So they are praying according to their level of realization also. And the Lord is ready to reciprocate accordingly. And also true, remember when Krishna entered Kamsa's palace for the wrestling arena, the different people there, they saw the Lord according to their mellow that they have with him. And the yogis simply saw him as the super soul. They saw him as the super soul. And that is their level. And the parents, the father and mother, they saw Krishna as their very dear most son, while the gopis were seeing him as their boyfriend. And the gopas are seeing him as just one of their very nice, powerful, mystical friends. Whereas Kamsa was seeing him as death personified. And other Kshatriyas there were seeing him as death personified also. Very terrible. Somebody who has come to kill them. You see, so that is it. That's why we say everybody, every living entity is on its own level, but every living entity has a relationship with the Lord. And based on their service attitude, they develop a particular level of realization, which they are confessing individually now. So this is their level, and they are confessing it. And it's okay. Pray according to their realization. Oneness. And this particular oneness is not the misunderstanding that the living entity is equal in every respect to the Supreme Personality of God. That this monism is based on pure knowledge as described and confirmed by Bhagavad Gita. That the Lord says that those who are advanced in transcendental knowledge and know the science of Krishna consciousness are very dear to him. And it's also very dear to them. Those who are actually in perfect knowledge of the science of God know that the living entities are superior energy. Yes. So the yogis know a lot. It's only the ultimate conclusion is not fully mature. But the yogis, they are in knowledge. They see the Lord as superior to them. Yeah. So maybe upon seeing the Vishnu now, they become immediately advanced to the level of personality. They start seeing as the Supreme Master. That purification is okay. So qualitative oneness. They are qualitatively one with the Lord. But sometimes in practice, people think that everybody is God, and it becomes confusion. You are God, I'm God, I'm swing the super soul, you are the super soul. And even Mahabhagavad, that's how they see. The Mahabhagavad see the super soul in every living entity. So they cannot preach. They offer obeisances to everything, every living entity. Both the cat and the dog and the tiger and the snake. They are offering obeisances because they are seeing the super soul. And they are reciprocating. That's a guru. We offer obeisances to a disciple. When disciple offer obeisance, he returns it. Many of them, based on the level of the student, they return the obeisances. But they are not offering obeisances to the body of the disciple, but they are offering obeisances to the super soul. It's a high level of relationship. But ultimately, there is individuality. So if a Paramatma yogi or Paramatma Vadi advances in knowledge due to that fire that is inside that practice of meditation yoga, the Lord, by the Lord's mercy, he can begin to see, he can become a Bhakta. Just like the 4 Kumaras. They were impersonalists, great impersonalists, but they became Bhaktas. Upon smelling the Tulasi, they became Bhaktas from then on. So all these other yogis can still advance on the path. They can still go beyond. All what is needed is some more purification. Then they are eventually there. So they are on the path. This is the explanation. They are still on the same ladder, but they have not gotten to the top. Going the traditional way of gradual elevation. And when they eventually arrive, they know that they are Bhaktas in the ultimate. So they are on the track. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, let's read one more verse, so we can stop here. Let's read. What verse are we in? 29 or 39? 39.
Yeah. To read 39 now. 39, yeah.
We are to read 39 now.
Yes.
Okay, somebody should read. Let's read and just read the translation and purport, and we go away from here now.
I don't know.
Judas, why are you not reading?
You want me to read?
Baba, read now.
It's already time for me. You know, that's why I met ahead.
Just read this one and we close.
39. Jagar ubava stitila Yesu daivato. Bahu bidia mana guna yatma maya Rachi tatma beda mata Yeswa samtaya. Vinirvatita Brahma Gunat Mane Nama. Translation. We offer our respectful obeisances unto the Supreme, who has created varieties of manifestations and put them under the spell of the three qualities of the material world in order to create, maintain, and annihilate them. He himself is not under the control of the external energy. In his personal feature, he is completely devoid of the variegated manifestation of material qualities, and he is under no illusion of false identification. Purport. Two situations are described in this verse. One is the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the material world, and the other is the law's own establishment. There is also quality in the Lord's own establishment, the kingdom of God. It is stated here that Goloka is his personal situation. There is also quality in Goloka, but that quality is not divided into creation, relation. In the external energy, the interaction of the three qualities makes it possible for things to be created, maintained, and annihilated. But in the spiritual world or the kingdom of God, there is no such exhibition, since everything is eternal, sentient, and blissful. There is a class of philosophers who misunderstand the appearance of the personality of Godhead within this material world. They are under the impression that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears, he is under the spell of the three qualities, like all the other living entities who appear within this material world. That is misunderstanding, as it is clearly stated here. Swasamstaya, by his eternal potency, he is transcendental to all these material qualities. Similarly, in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, I appear by my internal potency. Both the internal and external potencies are under the control of the Supreme. So he does not come under the control of either of these potencies. Rather, everything is under his control. In order to manifest his transcendental name, form, quality, pastimes, and paraphernalia, he brings into action his internal energy. On account of the variegatedness of the external potency, there are manifestations of many qualitative demigods, beginning with Brahma and Lord Shiva. And people are attracted to these demigods according to their own material quality. But when one is transcendental or surpasses the material qualities, he is simply fixed in the worship of the Supreme Personality. This fact is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Anyone engaged in the service of the Lord is also transcendental to the variegatedness and interactions of the three material qualities. The summary is that the conditioned souls are being pulled by the action and reaction of the material qualities, which creates a differentiation of energies. But in the spiritual world, the worshipable one is the Supreme Lord and no one else. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. And actually, this particular test, the purport is very sweet, and we'll discuss it when we come in our next class. We have something to discuss there. But let's keep it for the next time because of the next class also. So thank you very much for your attendance today. Yesterday's attendance was like a disaster, but we made the best use of our time yesterday, and we appreciate your presence today. And hopefully by next weekend we have full attendance. So thank you very much once again. And on this note, we say, ISKCON founder Charasila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai, 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 jai.
Babaji, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.